I don't know if you can hear me, if you can hear some roll sound. I'm going to be quiet for a little bit just to do a sound check. If there was any low rumbling or anything during that little period of quiet, let me know if you didn't hear anything after I said...
I'm defamed.
Huh?
I'm defamed here. Hang on. Okay, yep, I can hear everybody. Alright. I just wanted to make sure. I couldn't hear myself because I had myself defamed on.
Oh, gotcha.
Alright, we're good.
You didn't hear anything?
No, I could. Everything sounded good.
Okay, cool.
Hang on a second. Okay, I'm good to go.
Cool. Yeah, I guess this is official start. This is like we're gonna start this whole podcast going. This is our first episode for it. It's gonna be you know, the name's a little up for debate at the moment, but hey, we went with something kind of on the, not generic, but on the obvious side, a little bit of the late night. It's called the Late Night Podcast right now. It's kind of a placeholder because, you know, I don't know, if we cover a bunch of just different topics, yeah, it tends to be game or slightly nerd-ish related, so I guess we might have to change it geared towards that, I suppose. But yeah, this is the first episode. We're going to try to come out every Friday, obviously later at night, but it will be available on YouTube on Saturday, the very next day. It'll be available in my channel, in George's channel. What was it? What's your YouTube channel, George?
I'll probably be putting it up on Getting Hardware, youtube.com/gettinghardware.
Say that again. My mic was turned down.
That's okay. I'll be putting it probably on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/gettinghardware.
Getting Hardware. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Cool. Mine's. I tried figuring out what my YouTube channel was called, and I couldn't figure it out. It it just keeps saying Cody Gentry. I can't change it. I can't figure out what else it is. I guess type in my name. That's what happens. So anyways, obviously it's gonna be available on our Twitch accounts. This first one might not be on here for George, but anyways, they further off and whatnot. All the other ones, they should be on here. So yeah, let's kind of, I guess, dive into it a little bit. We have some talking points. This is kind of our setup right now. We're gonna hopefully advance it in the future and figure out like a little bit more of a clean setup. This is my setup so far from my end. But yeah, I guess one of the first things we should probably dive into is the game that I've been kind of waiting to play like most of my day today is World of Warcraft. I wanted to, yeah.
I just linked the YouTube channel URL for you into your Twitch stream chat.
Perfect. Perfect. I'll have to figure out all those links and everything.
I took a sip of this and it went down the wrong hole. I'm so sorry.
No, dude, you're good. I have water over here. I'm probably gonna choke on it too. But yeah,
I'm gonna joke on it while we're talking.
It'll just be a YouTube pod. Oh, just not YouTube pod. It'll just be a podcast of us just choking on water. It'll be nice and fun.
Yeah.
What is going on? I'm trying to monitor my Oh, that's probably why. I'm trying to monitor my chat, but I'm having a really hard time because I think
I got your chat, bro.
Actually, it says my channel is offline. I don't know what's going on.
I'm watching it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm trying to. That's how I do. I try to follow my chat through my my phone, and my phone just is poop right now.
I mean, no one said anything yet. I just pinged your YouTube. Your
okay,
YouTube
there we go.
channel,
Hopefully, I can monitor the chat a little easier like that. All right, thank you. But yeah, I've been wanting to play WoW all day. That's actually, Jess is on it right now. I want to create a new death tonight. There's so much I want to do, but it's hard. There's some motivation lacking. I guess we're kind of skipping the first one because that's the first thing I'm wanting to talk about anyways is the freaking level. Level 60 now. It's not like 120. It's half the levels now. So like, are we gonna get knocked down from 120 to 50?
Yep. Everybody's gonna get knocked down from 120. Well, who is now 120 will be 50. I believe it's like 4.5 ish levels per one level now. So
that's really weird because
like if you're 55, or sorry, if you're 45, you'll be what was like 110-ish.
That's rough. That bothers me so much because it took so long to get up to 120. And that that I only have like one guy right now. Since I quit WoW for quite a while, I've been back in for like a month or so now, a couple months. And of course, I've been playing since Burning Crusade. Like I remember getting Wrath of the Lich King for my birthday as my birthday present from my parents. So yeah, super fun game, but right now for me, I feel it's really weird going into that back down to those low levels. Like I don't know. I'm mixed about it because I'm just like, you guys are just gonna get to 70 again, 80 again, 90 if you come out with expansions. I guess their mindset was like, all right, if this expansion flops like Draenor does, we're screwed. So the 60 is not going to matter, and if it matters that much for us to make 3-4 more expansions to go all the way up to like level 100 again, that's great for us. We'll figure it out later down the road. Figure they went with that one instead of putting in a little bit more thought to what they should do for levels, because you're kind of taking away people's levels there. That's how I feel. I'm going to feel like I just lost my levels.
You're actually gaining levels, to be honest with you, because like in a sense they're leveling you up partially depending on what level you are. Because like for instance, if you were level 1, it would take you 4.5 levels to get to level 2, but if you're level 1, you're just going to start at level 1, so you're basically starting at level 4.5. In a sense, that's kind of how it works. So like you're in a sense you're gaining levels, kind of, sort of, depending on what level you are and you have alts at. But you might gain some levels actually by this happening. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it was. I think they probably could have waited until 150, or like a better number. Like, I mean, we were at 120, which is kind of a weird number to be at. Like, I felt like after 100, they should have dropped it back down, and it went back up again. I kind of felt like that the whole time through war. Like, once you hit 100, then just go back down and start it where you want to start it at 50, and then just drop us down to halfway.
Yeah.
Next expansion, and then just go back up 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 again. But I don't know why they decided to wait till 120 to do it. It's just kind of a weird time frame, I feel like, for it. They needed to like have it. They should have done it when it was like like they should have waited till like 150 or something, just to make it like we would all know it's like 1/3 of, you know, a level each time, and it'd be way easier to understand. But
yeah,
whatever.
Oh well. Yeah, and that's, yeah, I kind of feel the same. And I feel like they definitely, I was a little like bummed out because I wanted them to be more, we expect creativity out of them, and just to cut the levels back down to 60s, like, I don't know. It's hard because it's like, well, adding levels, or turn that down a little bit, adjust my volume a little bit so it's not so violent. Adding levels isn't very original either, but like, I feel like people would have been more happy with them going like, nah, you can level up to 125 now. 125, nice. That feels like that's a nice round number, and it's hard because when they do that, why don't you just make those last 5 levels just really hard to obtain? And secondly, if you want people to go back to leveling up from like 1 to 60 again, why don't you just like, this is my own personal opinion with that, why don't you do like a ranking system where when you hit 120, and then you can do a huge like you have. I mean, it'd suck to do on every 120 you got just to go to Shadowlands, but it's better than I think the solution they did. Why don't you just like do some like whatever quest to enter the Shadowlands, and then it takes you back down to level 1, but you have like that little. Maybe your character's icon has a little bit like a border around it now, like you have an elite icon on or something like that. It'd be like super neat.
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
Imagine other players running around with like elite icons on. That'd be super cool.
Icons, yeah. No, yeah, it'd be interesting. I don't know. I mean, they had to cut it down at some point. Like
silver icon.
They had to cut it down at some point. So like,
yeah,
now is better than never. I feel like they could have at least went 1 or 2 more expansions, 10 levels each, just got us to 150. You know, just did it so it's like I said, it'd be 3 levels each, and you know, it'd be way easier for everybody to understand and a way easier cutoff point. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's it's interesting, but it'll be weird being back down like those like to like lower levels like that. It's gonna be really strange. There almost is a you almost are like almost elite. I feel like going back to that point, I feel like there's so much of a difference between just hitting a max level and just being well geared now that like it almost is like you're elite. You got like all this crazy good gear and you're basically an elite.
But the rough
or an elite of a 60 or whatever
but and see, it's harsh because you are like an elite, like especially like if you go to PvP, you can get to the point where it takes so many people just to take you down. You know, you very much are almost an elite on there. But the thing is with transmog, fix my beanie. With transmog now, it makes it hard to show off that you're an elite. It makes it hard to show off that I've gotten, because I remember in Wrath, one of the cool things too is if somebody was in a complete head-to-toe matching set,
they
you knew like, oh, that guy's he knows what's going on. That guy is gonna kill me. But it doesn't mean nothing now, man. I could just wear BOAs and I look like I did in Wrath of the Lich King, which is cool. I'm happy. I'm glad that I can do that. I'm glad I have a mount that can do that. But
it's. And transmogrification is probably the one sole thing that's World of Warcraft's done in a while that's changed the game completely, in a sense of like some people just don't even like, all they care about is transmogging and getting like cool gear and stuff. I don't know. Going back to the point of the max content, because that's kind of what we're talking about anyway. They should definitely like it. The main reason, from what I understand, that they're doing it is it's going to be a little bit of a boost in leveling as well now to max level, and it should hopefully cut down the people who want more max levels but don't have the time to play as much. Which I feel like is a lot of their player base is more like older people who, at least now, I don't know, when we were kids, 10 years ago, I feel like it was a different story. People were a lot more addicted, but I feel like gaming has brought in so much over the last decade that like most people don't just play World of Warcraft anymore. So when you're on there, you don't want it to spend a bunch of time playing WoW to get max leveled, and a lot of people just only play 1 or 2 characters and they're good with that. And I don't know, the quicker you max, the quicker you get geared, the quicker, the more fun you have, in a sense. A lot of people don't have every character max like like we kind of do, so haven't played everything. So like those people are more, I feel like the people are kind of targeting, like people who power level hard, they can get every class up, aren't the people they're targeting for making it easier to level. It's the people who take weeks and weeks and weeks to get to max level, months even, like it's gonna be a lot easier for them.
Do you see my cat George? She popped up, she's whining.
I do.
Yeah,
I do see her.
if you hear yelling, whining, or whipping around, it's my cat. Hi, sweetie. It's okay. I will be off soon. Yeah, well, can you wait just a little bit? Wait just a little. Well, you're gonna have to. Sorry. He likes to yell at me.
The real big question is there going to be flying in this new expansion?
Yep, yeah, you saw my little topic. Yep, I'm like, dude, there better be if we go to Shadowlands, we're like, hey, guess what, fuckface? You're on a ground mount again. I'm
I don't
so
know.
angry.
I don't know. I mean, I like when you're leveling, not having all of the. I like the fact that you're leveling and you feel like you're leveling. So like making it feel like you're actually doing like you're not max and you're not this like big powerful guy and not flying around everywhere and dropping in. I mean, yeah, it makes things go a lot faster, but in a sense, I like it when you can't. I do agree once the expansion's gone. Like for instance, I mean, we go back. We've been going back doing a lot of transmog runs recently.
Fucking Dalaran, we can't fly in Dalaran.
Doing all these old raids, and we can't even fly in like these old expansion areas, like Legion areas and Warlords of Draenor areas. Like we should just be able to fly in those areas after we've like gotten done with the expansion. There's kind of no need for us to have to still ground mount out there. But like, I mean, I get in the new area, like, hey, you know, it's a new area, you're leveling up, you gotta kind of, I don't know, they have a lot more of like earning things now, so like you gotta kind of earn your flying. I feel like they should make it a little easier to fly. I feel like they've done kind of a bad job with that. Like that's not something that as many people like, I don't know, like I feel like it's more of a necessity to the game, especially speed-wise for people, than like, for instance, playing a race like one of the Zandalari Troll. That's not a necessity. You can play the game without flying too, but playing the game without a Zandalari Troll is a very good experience still. Playing the game without flying could potentially not be a good experience. Yeah. So like I just feel like that's a big, like they need to make it a little bit easier than doing all this work just to get flying. Like it was almost just as much work to get flying as it was to unlock these new races this last expansion, and it was kind of ridiculous. Like the races should have been harder to get than flying should have been. Like there was no need to make it that difficult.
Like it's hard because you're like wiping. What's the right? I can't even. I want to like wiping your ass with like old players' experience. Like we've earned our right to fly around, and I think Blizzard's like has this idea and notion that if you're questing, you have to be on a ground mount. And I can say leveling up. I've been leveling up and questing. Honestly, questing a lot recently, and it's been fantastic being able to fly. I can't even tell you. Like, me and Jess were leveling up from 1 to 20 on our characters. It was horrible. Like, even when we were going into areas we liked, it was still, I hated traveling on a mount. And then when we could fly, it was so nice because when I could fly, this is what, instead of keeping the pre-existing, like, thought of how things used to be and having it carry over, just learn to progress your game. For example, they've made it easier for the professions, for the collections, for all that stuff. They've made it more accessible, easier to level up.
Not
so
as easy as in Warlords, but yes.
But I've enjoyed.
Get all my supplies for me. Sorry.
You're good. No, you're good. But I was leveling up my character, and we were fishing. She was herb gathering, or we were doing archaeology. I was skinning. She was doing alchemy. I was what was I doing? Mostly I think I just mostly skin. Cooking and fishing. And it was so cool because I could we could do all these quests and stuff. I could assist her, and I could go off and do some questing, or she could go off and do some questing, and I can keep farming some leather or something. I could fly and go help her. We could fly around. And the point I'm getting to is we could keep flying around and do all the fun things that we wanted to do individually. Well, I mean, it wasn't when we got to 20. That was whatever. But when we got to 60, that's when that's when we were able to do that and be able to kind of, I don't know. I feel like the level and having to earn the level to get to being able to fly, and then paying the gold, which they make us do on like every single character, which is BS already. I don't want to throw that into the mix. But I don't know. I think flying enhances the leveling experience. And there's definitely pros and cons, but they need to iron out those details and get back to us and let us fly, damn it. One of our other topics too that we were going to talk about was easier playable races, and I don't know what I was 100% thinking when I had that. I mean, I guess it's a little bit of a discussion, or not a debate or anything like that, but it's definitely like, that's true, isn't it? I guess I didn't fact check that a whole lot. It's just going to be the storyline now, right?
Yeah, for all the new races, the allied races, they will all be playable through their quest line. You don't have to be exalted with their specific faction to unlock them anymore, which is good. Again, something that they're moving on to the new expansion, so they shouldn't be letting the older content be as difficult to get. So again, it makes a lot of sense. It's just, I don't again, people worked really hard for some of this stuff, so like making it that easy for other people is frustrating. But again, it's the same way with everything in a game that has expansions and gets better and better and better. Where, like, I mean, you're doing raids where you were struggling through a raid 10 years ago, and you can go solo it and just every week and get all that same gear in, like, 2 or 3 runs, 4 runs now.
Yeah.
Where before it was like just holding that piece of gear was insane. So like, I mean, it's just how the game evolves in general. That's how it works.
Yeah.
We all know that. At least the people that have been playing a while know what to expect. So that's kind of one of those things. But yeah.
Yeah, I would just like it. It's harsh because a lot of people have unlocked it, and I don't know what George is doing. You all right? I couldn't hear you, George. You all right?
Yeah. I'm fine. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, you're good. It's harsh because I don't know. I think I was most angry when I found about the playable races. In this instance, the way I'm going to kind of describe it, I feel like this would be okay, and they should have done this. The Zandalari, and this is more or less, people would say, arguments is more or less true now, but they should have made the Zandalari trolls and the Nightborn that's more or less fine how they are. I think it's too much to unlock them. I truly do. I think the achievements should be a little bit removed, or at least lessened to make them easier. I mean, I unlocked the Nightborn, so it's harsh though because I feel like I don't have the time to go through and unlock the Zandalari troll, especially with all the things that I want to do, and it's kind of a huge bummer. But I would feel much better if they made some of the other races. Like, you can't add 5 like different races for each faction and say, all right, unlock them, guys. Like, make a couple of them playable. You guys, the last playable race they made that you could just kind of play, I think you still had to go through some shit to play it, was the pandas, and people didn't like those a whole lot. So I'm just like, why are you guys making people hop through hoops to play races that we've been wanting since before Myst? Like, we got goblins and Kata, but God.
I mean, you had to do a little quest line up to like level 15 or some shit for the pandas, and you had to choose your faction. You still have to do that when you make a panda anyway. You play up to like this quest line, and then it puts you in whatever faction side you want to be on. But yeah, I mean, the playable races thing again is just something like an earned thing that they were giving.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't, especially you more so than me, but we didn't do a lot of max level content for Legion. As well as this last expansion. I mean, I did a lot more than you did, but not very much still.
I did a lot of Legion content on my Demon Hunter, but that's it.
But like you did it after after Warlords had already came out, or not Warlords. I played
Legion during Legion. I bought the expansion, was excited to play it, and I played was it Legion that had the It wasn't Legion that unleashed. Was it the Legion that... What expansion came out with the Nightborn and all the races? Was it Legion?
Yeah, that was Legion. Legion is that whole area, and they had the Legion was huge because it had... Not only did they give you a new... they gave you a new class, but they also gave you new races as well, which was interesting. But they did 2-in-1 expansion like that. It was kind of nutso, but
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm just like I found at least through, I keep wanting to say Warlords of Draenor, but this expansion we're on now, for some reason I'm blanking on what it's called, but.
Very good.
Battle for Azeroth. Wow, it's right up on my freaking screen. Anyway, in Battle for Azeroth, it's I feel like if you play through most of the max level stuff, you'll unlock you'll be pretty close to unlocking most of them by just playing through the max level content that you have to play through anyway after you're max leveled. I mean, I just played through the content and unlocked the orcs. Like, I didn't really have to do that much. They were probably the easiest one to unlock, which they should have been, because, like, they're basically just an orc, just a different color. I mean, it shouldn't be that difficult to unlock them.
Yeah.
The High Mountain Tauren, I mean, that was a little difficult, but again, they made them decently easy. I mean, getting Exalted rep is kind of difficult, but like if you really think about it, like they've always had items that you can get for Exalted rep and things of that nature. So like it's kind of the same thing. It's just you're getting a class that you can play instead. But as far as the Nightborn and the Zandalari, I mean those they knew were going to be the big two. So they made them a little more difficult to unlock than the rest of the stuff. It was probably intentional because they didn't want everybody just like it to be as easy to get them as it was to get all the other classes. As far as Horde though, like I really don't think, at least personally, that besides the I don't even really think besides the Nightborn and even the Zandalari trolls aren't that like insanely cool looking, but like the Nightborn are nice to have, but like as far as them, it's really like, I mean, I don't really think they're all that great, and wouldn't have really. I like the Zandalari trolls a lot just because I like trolls myself, but like I feel like most people don't really think trolls look that cool, so I don't really think they're. I mean, no, I'm honestly like. Yeah. So, like, I mean, in a sense, like I don't really think most people would sit there and go, I want to unlock the Zandalari troll. I want to unlock these orcs. I want to like the Valkyrie might have had some following because of people
wanting been around since vanilla WoW, yeah.
Yeah, well, and like people who really like
have too.
People who really like their like the fox kind of like animals and stuff like that. The people who are like big fans of that would have really liked to have played the Valkyrie, I'm sure. So they had probably had a big following because of that nature, but so they might have been a little more popular, but I just feel like for the most part it was just remakes of everything else. Like it was just a new troll, a new orc, a new Tauren. Like it was. I mean,
yeah, like you think of it that way. Like Like Nightborn was a huge difference, though. Like Nightborn
Nightborn were a big difference. So like that one again, it was like, okay, those ones are going to be popular, and they probably had the hardest time to unlock of anything. But
they're a pain. They were a pain. I spent too much time.
All I'm saying is I don't think, at least horde-wise, that many people were like jumping a gun to go unlock all these new allied races. I don't think they cared that much.
Yeah.
So like making it that difficult, I think, was kind of like you get the specific players, again, like us, who spend way too much time. So we're like, okay, well, we're gonna go unlock these characters because we want to play a troll that stands upright instead of one that's crouched.
But it's
over.
ridiculous though, because that is a great point. Like, it's so much work to unlock the Zandalari trolls, and all it is a troll that stands upright.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, I mean, if you go to Alliance side, it's a little different because the characters, I mean, they have a couple of them that are remakes, like a remake of a gnome, remake of the dwarfs, the remake of the elves. They're two ones that are completely different, are the two hardest ones to unlock as well. It's the same thing on Alliance.
They should have given us Worgans. Worgans should have been ours. I'm so pissed that Worgans are Alliance. That's so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, Alliance just has better looking characters all around. I feel like classes.
Yeah,
they're just.
I agree. That's why I was expecting the Worgans to be horde, but they were not. Because how cool would it be if you could turn into your human form as a Worgan, which you can do, and just walk around. I'm like, oh, I'm a human. What's up? Yeah, horde.
I think a nice, good idea they could do in a upcoming expansion would be to somehow make it so that some people turn over to the other side, so you could like go through a quest line where like you get a night elf on horde or something similar to that nature. That'd be kind of cool thing to do. That
would be neat. If it was like
think it'd be interesting.
Yeah, they could do something like World of Warcraft Traders of Azeroth or something like that. And what happens is like you I don't know, maybe I don't know how that would work. I guess you would have to have a max level to be able to transfer.
Yeah, you'd probably make you. I mean, I would have it if it was my idea. I would definitely make it so like you would have to level a different, like you would have to be able to. I mean, in order to unlock that class, or you'd have to go through a storyline. Like, for instance, like, you wouldn't just get them, so, like, it would be kind of like the pandas, where, like, you go through a storyline and you're, like, doing all these things where you're, like, betraying your specific faction, and then all of a sudden at the end you get into the other faction and they welcome you in and all this jazz. And
yeah, they could do, like World of Warcraft, like behind enemy lines, and like you can go as like a spy, and then like you go through the whole huge long storyline to help the Alliance or the Horde to have them believe you're on their side, and then like that's like the very last mission you get out of the expansion is, we caught you, we know you're a spy, but why did you help us so much if you were a spy? And at that point, you'd be able to make a decision to be like maybe like a Horde commander. I don't know. Maybe you can upgrade your character and be like a Horde commander or something. And then, or you can be like, or we'll welcome you to the Alliance, and then you can move your character to the Alliance. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I guess we have other things to do other than write their next expansion for them.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think they should go too crazy with like a story about it. But like, I mean,
well, they'd have to a little bit for another race to be on a different faction.
Well, I mean, just make a new expansion where we max level, kind of just like Mist was, where it was just an expansion that was centered around the pandas. Like, make a new expansion that's kind of centered around like each faction being able to do that. You can't make the characters to start with, but if you do this storyline, you can.
Hey Jesse.
You know, at a certain level, you can decide if you want to switch over.
She needs something. I'm not sure what she needs.
Okay.
Like, you hit a certain level and you can decide whether you want to switch over or whatever, and you can do this like huge long storyline where you switch over to the other side. It'd be just kind of a cool, like, interesting.
Oh goodness.
And they could just make. It'd be an interesting expansion.
It sure would.
I don't know. The only thing I really dislike that I express on a regular basis is the fact that I wish I could play druids that were not Taurens or trolls. That's really the only. It's really my only complaint with Horde. Like I feel like every other class is kind of fine. It looks like it should look, but like we don't have any. I don't feel like we have any good druid races that you can play. I mean,
they should have made Nightborn druids, man. I'm so pissed off. Yeah, they should have at least given us that, man.
They should have given Zandalari. Well, the thing I don't understand is like, yeah, they should have given the Nightborn the druids, but they gave they waited till the new. They did it equal on both sides, but they should have just made
give it to High Mountain Tauren.
They should have just
at least made more sense.
Opposite. Yeah, or High Mountain Tauren would have been good too.
That makes more sense to me. Yeah. I'm not hating on the Zandalari. I want one. I want to create a Zandalari troll. I want to create one. I do. I really. I want a Boomkin Zandalari troll. Even though
they look cool in certain like sides. I just the bear form is very lacking, and I don't think it looks that good. It still has freaking horns sticking out of it, like every other druid on Horde does, which I can't stand.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. They need to. The Nightborn, they could have made them just like Night Elf druids, and it would have been great.
Mm-hmm.
I would have switched my druid to a Nightborn in a heartbeat. I would have probably tried.
I would have. I would have spent some money there for that. That's for sure.
I would have spent hours and hours and hours unlocking the Nightborn very quickly to make sure I could do that. Like, it would have been totally worth it.
Oh yeah. And super worth it. I totally would have done that.
I mean, that'd be something nice that they could do for people. And I mean, then again, then now going back to the, being able to play. I mean, if they just gave us Nightborn as druids, I'd be happy with that. I don't even care if they make the Alliance playable on Horde. I just want to have a druid class that I can play that looks like the Alliance druids.
I agree. I strongly agree with that, and that's why I heard Worgens were going to be Dude, I heard Worgens were going to be druids.
Really?
I got so mad. Okay, so we're going to have to move on, though, for sure. I forgot I was supposed to stop it after 30 minutes. We have some topics to move on to if that's chill. Because I feel like I can keep
I don't think we'll spend as much time covering these other topics, but we can move on.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. I don't know how many minutes I'm gonna have to cut off of the Twitch intro. But we'll move on. Yeah, because I feel like I'm gonna get all.
I'm gonna kind of let you head up this next topic about Fortnite, because I'm not a huge Fortnite person myself, so it's gonna be kind of more your thing here.
That's fine. I'm sure. I don't know if how many people in my channel are gonna be in here. I don't have the most followers at the moment, but I used to have a lot more dedicated people who would really like watch me play Fortnite, and I'm really good. It's been a while since I've it's been a good couple weeks since I popped back on, since obviously with the time in the list, WoW has been taking up a lot of my gamer time. That's where it goes. It has not been going to Fortnite lately, but I still really like it, and I'm not even gonna lie. I played a lot of Fortnite on my iPad. I thought it was awesome, and that's why it's been stinging so much that it's been banned on not banned, but they have been kicked off the Apple site. You can't update your game. You can't play it. Just for you guys who might not know what's going on with the subject, I have a timer. I'm gonna try to keep it with just like a minute or so, just brief. Essentially, out of the blue, Fortnite preemptively and with thought and strategy created videos and everything to head up against Apple. They were really tired of the App Store 30% charge for all of their funds and everything. So they went to their consumers, their customers, to try to back them up. They rewarded us. They gave us cheaper V-Buck options and said, you can buy it from the Apple Store with their 30%, or you can buy it from us without their 30%. And we were able to buy V-Bucks cheaper. I think we still can if you go on Xbox. They were eventually kicked off, followed by a lawsuit, Fortnite wanted to get back on the App Store, and they said no. I think there was a court ruling about Apple now banning I don't know if you heard about this one. Apple banning the Unreal Engine from being used in apps. Court orderings. That's bad. Yeah, it's horrible.
It's going to take a lot of games off. That's not just Fortnite, because Unreal Engine runs most things nowadays.
Yep. And
it's most big like shooter type games.
Yep,
it's
and they
on Unreal.
Same company owned by Fortnite. So then Apple's being that butthurt about it. They're just like, no, now we're not even using your Unreal. And I understand why, because they just totally changed how everything went. There's been court rulings, and long story short, everything's up for grabs. I think next year, July, there's supposed to be a jury court case, because I think the last judge ruling, my summary is done. Now I'm kind of moving on to the rest of this. The latest news with this is that the judge ruling was, this topic is a little on the complicated side, and they're going to leave it to a jury to decide. And it's hard to understand what side they're on, because this is the kind of what I was going to kind of talk to you about, because I haven't gotten to talk to you a whole lot about it. Apple provides some pretty cool services for app developers. They provide the app tool. They review all the games that go into the App Store. I like the fact that I can pay with Apple Pay in an app. I can Game Center just saves my information. I can just log into my shit.
Sitting here won't be helping you out much longer, it sounds like.
But the problem is any apps or any developers who want to take advantage, not necessarily take advantage, but enter that market, not take advantage of, enter that market, because that's a market. They have to pay that hefty 30% fee. And what we're getting into is Apple like a private facilitator of apps for their product, that they deserve to get that 30%, since they provide the tools, they do the security, they only offer their customers quality apps, as opposed to Android, who doesn't. No one can argue with me, sorry. And there's a lot more shady stuff that can get loaded on apps and stuff that doesn't get screened. Or is it more of like that facilitator of apps, or is it, which I'm feeling like I'm more on this side, has it just become a marketplace now? Like, that's just the marketplace for people to sell apps. That's the place you have to go. And now it's becoming unfair to charge such hefty fines for people to be able to create games and apps and stuff. Like, I get the facilitating charge, but I feel like the App Store has grown so much now that Fortnite does have a point that they should work something out to be able to charge some kind of service fee or something like that for all that they do. But 30% of everything, I get that point. Where do you sit on that, George?
First of all, I don't really think Fortnite is lacking in player base or the ability to not leverage money for their business, whether they're on the App Store or not on the App Store.
Yeah,
I would probably guess that 90%, most of their player base is not on the App Store.
You actually got that at all precise. That's why I was going to interrupt you, and I'll quit in 2 seconds.
Yeah,
it was 10%, or it was 9 or 10% of their customers are on the App Store.
I think it's pretty well known to most app developers and people who have apps that Apple charges a hefty fee. Apple is Apple, and they leverage their goods, and they've always done it that way. They've always made it so you pay extra to use their services. That's just how Apple is. Granted, they give you a good, like you said, it's a better app experience. It's more fluent with their products because they make their hardware and their software together, so things work a lot better, etc. So, it's a better experience than on Android with apps, at least, because you're getting, the software and the hardware made by the same companies. As far as Google is trending in the right direction in terms of their specific devices working very well with the App Store and Google's apps. As far as the other not so much, but they I don't know, I just feel like it's well known, so like I don't really know why they're so upset about it, because like I mean they can get angry, but like in all seriousness, like I said, I don't really think they have a huge argument in court, because like they sign, like they I'm sure they have to sign paperwork with Apple being like, yo, we're charging you this much of a fee every time someone downloads or pays for your game on our app. So
yeah,
you already knew that going in. I don't know why you're upset about it now, kind of a thing. But yeah, I mean, if they're that upset, I just would cut my ties with Apple. I mean, like I said, it's 10% of your player base. No one really, like, no other companies have really made a big deal about it except for them.
Well, they were moved off the Android store too. For a little bit, they could be back. I don't know. I knew initially.
Epic Games is like, they kind of just need to stick to Fortnite and like have that be their thing, and they've done a good job with that. But like, I don't know. I mean, they hit huge when they got to console. Like anytime you put a game onto a console that's cross-platform with like every other console or platform, makes your game hugely popular, just in general, because the player base is massive and people can play with their friends no matter what they're playing on. Yeah. So it like, which Fortnite has, so like that gives them a huge advantage over most other games. There's not many games that are fully cross-platform like that, where like I can play on my Switch with somebody on PC. I can play, you know. So like going back to that point, it's like they wanted to be on mobile because they had that as one more option for people to play on. Yeah. It's just, again, I don't feel like most of their player base is on there. I don't really think, like, if people want to play a handheld version of Fortnite, I don't think like I don't think that, like, I mean, unless you have an iPad and you really don't have the money to spend, but I feel like if you want to play handheld Fortnite, a Switch is a lot better of an option than, you know what I mean? And
yeah, like, no, that's a good topic to bring up, because honestly, if I can interject too, is the same quandary I had actually when PUBG was coming out with they were sinking so much money into their mobile app, and I'm sitting there on a computer playing PUBG, and I was just like, why the fuck are you guys doing this? Like, same kind of deal with Fortnite. Like, why the fuck are you on a iPhone app? You're an FPS. What? No. Like, you can be. Statistically, yeah, obviously they can be. They do it now. At the time, I think they were like, we can be. Why not? It's a revenue. But I'm just like, focus on cross-platform, your consoles, your PC, and now that everything's been going on right now. Yeah, I mean, it's harsh because I liked playing on my iPad, and honestly, I can see getting on it on my phone to do just fun challenges and not any serious gameplay. But I don't know, I feel like a mobile platform like a phone offers so many mobile options, and Fortnite, granted, they've done a lot to come out of just being simply just an FPS. They're not so much just an FPS anymore, although it is. I feel like they should be expanding more out of that. Not out of it, but in more options, and that would translate better into the App Store. But I've always been on that notion, like, why do we need FPSs on phones? So I feel like, honestly, I feel like you're right on that one. If they lose this, whatever happens bad, just cut some losses, get all the apps Apple Store.
It's just Fortnite, I believe, is fully cross-platform, so like no matter what you play on, you're playing with the same player base.
Yes, I checked that out.
So like, as far as like going back to your PUBG point, and like PUBG though, when they came out with their mobile version, like you only play with mobile version people. So like, there's a slight, and there's kind of like an almost a competitiveness to it, where like everyone's at the same advantage or disadvantage, because like you're not at a disadvantage to play on your mobile device because everyone else is playing on their mobile devices. So like you're in the same ballpark as everybody else. Whereas like Fortnite, it's like you play on your iPad, you're at a huge disadvantage with someone with, you know, a control. I mean, granted, some people probably use their controllers on their iPads. But
that's exactly what I did. That's how I played on my iPad. I used a controller.
So like some people do that, and like that's again. I mean, on
it's
an
so
iPad
cool.
Pro,
It's a little, just like a little TV, and you just. I'm just gonna open up this little book thing.
Yeah.
Here's a controller.
Considering an iPad Pro, you can almost probably get better performance playing on an iPad Pro than you can on an Xbox at this point. So I mean,
well, see now. There's no point in getting an iPad Pro because I can't play Fortnite on it, George.
Yeah, but like I mean, I don't think they really are losing much out of this. I don't know why they're putting up such a big fight for it. I don't think it really matters that much whether they're in the mobile space or not in the mobile space, but.
Well, a lot of the discussion, too, is they're not suing Fortnite for anything other than being available in the App Store. They're trying to sue that Apple's violating, like, those terms of monopolizing a market. And they're trying to accuse them of, like, 6 different counts of it. And I read them. Granted, I've done thorough. Well, not recently, but when it first came out, I did fairly thorough research, and I read a lot of the articles, and a lot of them seem justified, and a lot of it is to try to just get that percentage gone from developers and try to help customers and help developers make better money without all the fees. But I'm with you. I'm just like, I don't know, man. Just. I get the battle. I got the one you picked. I know it was preemptive. I know you strategized, but prepare for the worst in that sense, I suppose. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I feel like most developers don't really care that much that they're getting charged a 30% fee because they're gonna make way more money being on the App Store than they are anywhere else anyway. So they don't really care. Because iPhone dominates everything in terms of the phone industry and the mobile industry, so it destroys everything.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much you can't do on iPhones now. Where like, I mean, you can edit your videos on there on your phone if you really want to now. So like, software and hardware wise, Apple's just, especially mobilely, they're not far beyond, but they're at a good advantage over most of, over Android and Google and all that. So at least in terms of like apps and that nature, I'm not talking so much about like phone and just, basic usage of a smartphone. I mean, you can do most of the same stuff on any smartphone, but in terms of getting apps and using apps and like app fluidity with programs and things of that nature on their devices, I mean, iPad has no competitor, pretty much. Like, especially iPad Pro. Like, nothing's even close to as good as an iPad Pro.
Yeah.
So, like... And then the phones, it's like, yeah, they're competitors, but, like, once you hit App Store stuff and you make that argument, there's nothing they can compete with on the App Store in terms of, like, just program usage.
It's harsh because they're, like, answering... Like, it's, like, almost like Microsoft is answering the iPad with a iPad... computer. Like, it's a computer that's awesome. The thing is, it's like, that's not the point though. Apple's enriched the App Store to be able to take on those functions you like to do on the computer so that you can interact with them in a pleasant way, not so that you don't have to deal with the computer. And that's how I see an iPad and how I see my phone, which is why I do almost all of my banking, all my stuff on my phone.
Yeah, most people, the biggest argument people had for iPads was it's still a mobile device. Like, you can't do desktop tasks on an iPad, and they wanted to be able to do everything on one device, where like I can get an iPad and I can have it be my laptop replacement as well as an iPad.
Yeah,
and
kind of can, yeah.
Their new iPad OS that they just made along with iPad Pro was a big step towards that, because iPad Pro is powerful enough to do pretty much anything you can do on a PC, on a computer. That's awesome. And they made mouse support, with it, and you can do all that stuff on there now.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now it's like, okay, we're competing with Surfaces, because that was the whole point of the Surface, was it's really like easy to take around. It just folds up. You don't have, can, like, if you want to watch a movie on Netflix on it, you can just take the keyboard off and just sit there and set it up and watch it. they're like really convenient. So Apple definitely nailed that with iPad Pro. And I mean, the normal iPads too. I mean, iPad OS, the new one, works on all their new, I think it's like all their, I don't know what devices it doesn't work on, but it works on just their normal iPads as well. I know it works on their normal iPads. I don't know if it's on their newer version of the minis or not, but it works on their normal iPads. Their slim ones, I don't know what they're called, the smaller ones.
Airs.
But yes, the iPad Airs and the Pros. So it works on everything, and it's.
I haven't seen it. I haven't taken that good a look at it. I don't know if I haven't updated my iPad.
I really want like to get an iPad Pro almost at this point, just because they're so useful for a lot of things.
I'm not gonna lie, dude, I love the shit out of my iPad. I thought I was gonna be playing, I thought I was gonna be reading a ton of comics and shit on it, but like, honestly, I'll have like an app open, like Yu-Gi-Oh or something, playing card games, and then just up in a little window, I can also have like freaking Monty Python or like The Office on or something playing, and I can watch it while I'm sitting on my iPad. It's so cool. Like I said, like I could do something like that, whip up the controller and play like almost console feeling like version of like Fortnite.
iPad Pro, I mean, it had 120.
So cool.
It has 120 hertz screen. I mean, that thing. I mean, you were probably playing better on that if you were playing on an iPad Pro. You were probably playing better on that than on some consoles, especially if you're playing on like just an Xbox One or just a PS4. Like it's probably a better like fluidity in the game playing on was probably playing on iPad Pro, but then again it's like, okay, well now you can't, so it doesn't really matter anymore.
So that's right, that's right, Apple, you heard it from George. If you want to save your iPad Pro, you have to not kick Fortnite off.
No, I mean, I don't think
I'm just kidding.
It's just like, again though, it's just one extra thing you can do on it, like, but the point of it was that you could do all these different things on it. And like there's no real competitors to iPad, so like again, in mobile market they dominate. So if you need to be in the mobile market, you need to be on iPad and be in the App Store, the Apple App Store, and Apple knows that, and they used it to their advantage, and they just charge a percentage fee, and it's probably in the contract when they sign it to know that they're. So
that's
like,
where I'm sitting at, though. I feel like they've gotten so large. They're not just a private facilitator who can get away with that 30% charge. They're so large. Most people have iPhones, so they are now a full-blown marketplace, as if you would walk into a city's marketplace, and that marketplace vendor is charging everyone in the sale for the marketplace 30%, which is similar to like a mall almost, but like larger scale. But I don't know. Whatever. I
don't know if it's the same 30% fee for everyone. Fortnite might have gotten a larger fee because of like the popularity and the
it's 30%. 30% for everyone. Everyone gets charged a solid 30% of any of the profits that they make. Any of the purchases through the App Store. Because the tools are free, they might have to pay a certain fee or membership for access to the developer tools, but that should come included in that fee. But whatever, they're going to be judged by a court, a jury in California in July of next year. Right now, as of right now, that's what's going on. So
I don't think that anything's going to happen to Apple. Like, I don't really feel like if anybody's in the wrong, it's just Fortnite complaining because they can't make as much money, and Apple's just like, well, it's our, like, we've been doing this for years. I don't know why you're surprised at this point, kind of a thing. But like, you knew what you were signing up for when you got in here.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of one of those feelings, at least that's how I look at it from what you've been saying, is it's like, well, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Epic Games. I think Fortnite's a fantastic development. I think they've done a great job with making
your Unreal Engine
like Fortnite be as popular as it is and keep it fresh for people. That's hard to do with like games like Fortnite. And like they do a lot of good things. It's very kid friendly. It's a good game. I'm not gonna say, personally not a fan of Epic Games as a whole. I don't really care for the company too much, so I might be a little biased here. I don't know, but like, I mean, I don't like Apple either, in my defense. So like either way, I guess I'm not that biased because I don't really like either of the companies, but I mean, I don't like Apple for the exact reason that we're arguing. I mean, they play good business, so they always have. That's why they have so much money, because they know how to like manipulate, not necessarily manipulate their customers, because I feel like most of their customers already know, but they know how to like manipulate the system to which they can go, well, we have the best product for this particular thing, so we're going to charge more for this particular thing because we know we have the best. And even if it's technically not the best in a sense, it's the best at that particular thing. So they just go, well, we know we got people.
Yeah.
Like I would never I mean, looking on like an iMac, for instance, like, I mean, I don't feel like they're not selling that many computers. I mean, a lot of people buy like MacBooks and stuff still, but I don't think I mean, they're not making most of their money off computers.
No, not anymore.
Their app store and their mobile devices are what really keep Apple in business right now. I mean, that's
Granted, I hate to say it, I honestly do. Nothing against a computer you assembled for me that is sitting right in front of me that this is all happening from, but I would love to have an iMac, another iMac. I still use that goddamn iMac in there. It's from 2009. It still works fine. So I kind of want an updated iMac just to kind of have in general, just to like.
I mean, if you're gonna be playing games just like WoW, where like it's not that demanding and stuff, iMacs are nice to have because they can do a lot of other things as well. They're very good at doing tasks that aren't massively.
And that's exactly what I'd use it for. Yeah, not like nothing too demanding. Not nothing too demanding.
Lower powered work. I mean, you
all
can
my
still
adult
get
work
it
stuff
to do
that
power,
I have to do.
but they create their own apps and their own programs that work for their specific hardware, just like they do with everything. True. So a lot of their own, if you use their own particular things, it works better on their hardware. That's just how Apple is. So like if you know, they have their own editing software that it performs better than like, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of computers, but their computers are thousands and thousands of dollars, and the hardware is not anywhere close to as good. But you can't run, you know, like you can't run Premiere Pro on that. It'll be trash. But you run their program and it runs flawlessly on there, like Premiere Pro would run on the same. Like it performs the same as running Premiere Pro on the same. If you spent that same amount of money on like a Windows computer, it'd be probably just about the same performance as spending that much money and just using their program for their specific hardware base. It's just you're paying the Apple fee because you're not getting the hardware that you would be getting otherwise. But so like if you want to use anything besides Apple stuff, it doesn't work as good. So that's kind of the Apple way in a sense. They want you to like they make their stuff really easy to use, really fluent with their stuff. Everything works good with their stuff. But anytime you try to use anything that isn't theirs or that they don't want you to use, it does not work good.
Or if it's a product that you've bought from them and you've had it for more than 2 years, stops working because they've been fined multiple times. They've been fined and paid millions of dollars, and they just like, we don't fucking care. We're still doing it.
Yeah, that's more of a phone problem. I was talking more from like a computer side of things.
Yeah,
you can't really run other programs on their phones other than the program that they make you run. So there's not a lot of options there, but their computers, generally run pretty well for a while. They last a lot longer because there's not as many things going into, like, they're making their hardware and their software together, so they make sure everything works well. So, but yeah, I don't like paying Apple fees. That's all.
Yep. Then and that sometimes boils down to why I'm on Fortnite side, because fuck it, Apple doesn't need the fees. But whatever.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
See.
If I wasn't as big of a, if I like. I mean, I would probably. I don't think I would take this, even if it was a company I liked. I mean, if you're complaining about them charging a fee to you for using the App Store, and in my opinion, you shouldn't have your game in the App Store anyway because it's not an app game. So people aren't going to play on the App Store anyway. So I don't really know why you're in there, but you're in there to make like a small little profit. You're getting charged 30% on it. Just whatever. You're not making that much money off it anyway. So just take whatever you can get. You're in the App Store to take whatever you can get.
It's true.
Like, you're in there because you want to get every little scrap of money you can off of it. So like, just take every little scrap of money you can get off it with your 30% fee, and don't, I don't see the point in making a big deal about it.
Yeah.
But
yep. Well, we'll find out what happens.
I mean, I'm sure they get fees from the other companies to use their stuff too. Yeah. So I don't see why there's anyway. But yeah.
No.
But yeah, we can move on now. I think we've pretty much covered most of that.
Oh yeah.
Topic.
Yeah, no worries. No worries, yeah. There's only so much you can talk about Fortnite, honestly, before I start getting mad at Fortnite Apple. So our last one is kind of Star Wars. So it was like a little bit of Star Wars talk. So I'm going to do like little thumbs up, like Star Wars talk. So for a lot of people, you guys might not know, if there was anyone in particular of our group between me, George, Noah, and kind of like our group of friends, I think I'm probably the obvious, background. It's not Star Wars background, but like I have so much Star Wars shit in my apartment. I love it. I have so much. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I'm the biggest Star Wars fan I'd say out of the group. So I follow a lot more Star Wars stuff. So if you guys have a need for more Star Wars channels, which I don't know if there is a need for one, I'm happy to do more Star Wars stuff. But for right now, we're going to dive into some of the Star Wars stuff that's been going on with The Mandalorian, of course, because honestly, guys, Star Wars fans, kind of from heart to heart, like, honestly, guys, like, we don't have much else right now other than The Mandalorian. That's kind of what we got. And it's not bad because Mandalorian's awesome. It's a fantastic show. I've watched it many times now. But, that's what we have. So we need to hold on to that. And right now, they've assured us that there's nothing in jeopardy for Season 3. And I thought that was weird. I'm like, why am I reading an article that Season 3 is going to be fine? Season 3 is happening. There's not going to be an issue. And I found out is because there was a change of plans. And I will kind of do what I did for the Fortnite. Hold on, I got to blow my nose really bad. It's going to bother me if I don't.
In the grand scheme of things, they were.
Can you hear me?
Apparently,
Can you hear me now?
Came out. Yeah, apparently it came out that Pedro Pascal wanted more his face.
Wanted more FaceTime. Boop.
Yeah. well. Since I had to take over this one, I guess I'll kind of comment on it first from the basic gist of it, and then I'll kind of let you give what you have to say too. Yeah. But for the most part, I don't know how much Pedro Pascal. I know he voices all of it, so like if his face isn't in there, he's really just voicing it. I don't think he's in the suit. In fact, I know he's not in the suit because I believe that
he's in the suit most of the time.
The stunt guy is usually in the suit, I believe, and that's the guy that's gosh, what's his name? He's the son or grandson of Clint Eastwood. It's one of the Eastwood.
Really? And and that's some good information. I didn't know that.
He does all the stunt work in the show, and I believe most of the scenes are filmed with him in the suit. So Pedro Pascal, unless it's like a scene where the head is out of the suit, he's generally probably not in the suit. So I understand his point of wanting his face there more, because I mean, dude, just take your money and like
take your giant fan, all the giant fan following you have, the money, just
take your money. They're not going to pay you any more whether your face is on it or not on it. Honestly, as much as I hate to say this and it sounds terrible, but he's playing a role where it doesn't matter if his face is shown that much. So like, you're complaining about your face not being shown enough in a show where they don't even need to show your face. So like, they can just replace you very easily because they don't have to show your face anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't care if you don't want your face to be shown. They don't need to show your face. They can easily just go, oh, here, we'll get somebody else then if you're going to have a big complaint about it.
One season, and you have all these fans, people who are just like, thank you for saving the Star Wars franchise. And you're just like, really? Like, you have to complain about that? Like, man.
Personally, I'm not sitting here going, oh, Pedro Pascal saved Star Wars. I give more of that credit to Jon Favreau.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Because like,
yes.
and I don't think Jon Favreau will let the Mandalorian die, especially after all of the
fighting.
He didn't let Marvel die. They gave him Marvel to start too, and they let him take the lead on that to start it with Iron Man originally. And he set that up for success. I don't think he's gonna. They're kind of like almost doing the same thing with this. They're kind of like, here's your project. Can you set us on the right track to start this whole thing?
Kind of, sort of. Well, he wrote it too.
Yeah. He's way more invested into the Mandalorian than he was into
the Marvel universe.
Well, into Iron Man 1, but specifically. But I don't know. I don't think Favreau's gonna let it die, regardless of if Pedro Pascal wants to be the Mandalorian or not anymore. So,
and
I think they'll be fine with what no matter what happens.
That's like the line they gotta draw too. If it gets to that point, so I feel bad bringing this all up too, because honestly, like, you know, they've amended it. They said they've kind of resolved it for now, but like a lot of it's hearsay and rumors and stuff because. There's been a lot of rumors and things that have been having to it has to slowly come out so people are protected who've, you know, provided some bits of information, but you know, it's fair for fans to know. And I first found out because there was a whole change in how season 2 looks. Season 2 is going to be different than, you know, if you want to think of alternative like parallel universes, there is a parallel universe where he decided not to, you know, complain about his helmet, and the season 2 looks different. Like, that's if you guys believe in parallel universes, there is one that season 2 will look different. And the big thing too is some of the information that people might not be aware of or might not know about is really the big headbutting that did happen over this. I'm just going to assume George can still hear me, so I'll just keep talking. One of the big things that happened was there was a huge inner conflict because he decided, I can't, the suit's uncomfortable. I'm tired of the suit. I want my face shown. I want my face to be on there. I'm, you know, a kind of a larger star now. I want my face shown. And the creative team is just like, dude, no, like, that is not the way. Like, that, dude, bro, you're a Mandalorian. You're Mando. Like, what the... Did you not read the comic books that we gave you? Did you not see... Did you not do your research on Mandalorians for your role? Like, that's what they are. They do not take off their helmets. That's not something they added for this series. Mandalorian's been around for a long time. I know there's a lot of Star Wars fans. I feel like there's a lot of Knights of the Republic fans too, whether you're talking about the online PC game or if you're talking about the original Xbox series, KOTOR 1 and 2, Knights of the Republic, and the second one's called the Sith Lords, and the first one's I think like the Old Republic, I think. But those games were, other than the fact that, you know, those games were really cool. Oh shit, losing my train of thought here. Oh, you brought your dog. Could you hear me, George, while you were gone?
Yes, I had to go. Like, the dog was freaking out.
No worries. I was talking about the original Xbox games, and Mandalorians were in like all of these things, and that's just how they were. Yeah, never took off their helmets. Very proud. They're even in the Clone Wars TV series. I don't know if they're exactly the same because the Clone Wars series is almost a very recent, newer civilization of the Mandalorians for the planet Mandalore. It used to be way more vicious, way more warmongering, and your helmet was your face, was your personality. That's what you went off of. And to offer this role to this actor, say this is going to be a heavy character actor. They do not. You play a Mandalorian. They are cutthroat. They have a specific code of honor. Their personality, who they are, everything is in their armor, their mask. So this role, you will wear a mask and armor most of the time because that is the character. That's the role for this. And if that's something you think you can do, and you know he said yes to that. And, like, God, I'm sorry, but, like, to me, two things. That says two things. If you're going to complain about if it's as bad, which it should be, because honestly the thing I didn't get to really highlight, other than the fact that the Mandalorian isn't new, that they have to have their masks on, is that he constantly was bumping with the creative team, with the creative writing staff. I believe Jon Favreau as well, he bumped heads with. And actually, this is what I read, and I hope it's accurate, is that what happened is he went to LucasArts. He went above Favreau's head to LucasArts and said, try to get them involved and intervene to say, yes, there should be more scenes with him in his mask off. The problem with this is apparently the studio he went to, LucasArts, is also part of the problem for why we have issues with episodes 8 and 9. And Favreau, and I think a lot of the fans are worried that if they bring in that studio to start making changes and adjustments, which, by the way, they have been trying to get involved in The Mandalorian, and Favreau's been like, no. so if he tries to, I mean, how I saw it was that he's jeopardizing the future of the franchise, how the fans want it, just so he can get his way. And I see it as two things. You're not being a professional actor because you're not taking your freaking role seriously. And then secondly, you're showing a tremendous, and like I said, I feel harsh ripping on it like this because everything's been amended, and from their end they said it's fine. But of course, like I said and read, the publicist is going to say everything's fine. Look forward to season 3. But if you're going to complain that much and jeopardize that role, you don't care about Star Wars, which, and you can interpret that how you want, whether it be the fans or the origin, the other movies that got us to this point, the whole franchise as a whole, or if you just want to look at it into like the whole Star Wars universe. And it just, and you know, if I think that actually might be one of the big reasons why there was so low key and they were really strict on the information for this, is because they don't want fans to know that the actor who plays the Mandalorian is their favorite show, isn't happy with it and potentially could cause problems. Like a lot of the other, I know there's other celebrities who are involved in the Marvel universe who took to complaining about things or reacting to fans online or over Twitter or something, and they just don't want problems with actors ruining like a whole franchise. And none of the fans want this, and I'm glad that you brought up that point though, with everything, because that's the point. Yeah, he can be they've shown his face once, man. Shown his face once. He can just be played by a voice actor at this point, if they need to.
He is a voice actor at this point. Like, yeah. Pedro Pascal is voice acting the Mandalorian. Like, they had a thing that after the season of the Mandalorian, it was like a kind of like rewatch of the Mandalorian, and you like they interviewed a lot of people about it. It's on. I think it's still on Disney Plus. I'm sure you can probably watch it. But it goes over a lot of the things, and they talk about how, I can't think of what the Eastwood's name is. It's either Clint Eastwood's grandson or son, but he's a one of the you know, he's a stunt actor in Hollywood. Like, that's what he does. And so he's said, I mean, they talked about, like, he's like, I'm in the suit 90% of the time. The only times I'm not is the scenes that he's in where he's not in the, like, where he's showing their face. So, like, ideally, I mean, Pedro Pascal is just a voice actor at this point, in my opinion. So, I mean, I don't really give a shit if he wants to be a pouty baby about it. And, like, they don't need him to keep the show successful. So.
Yeah, I think that would be, I think you're right. I think that would be the right direction for them to go. Listen, we want this show to be successful for the fans, not because you want to be recognized as a star. This show is so we can win our franchise back, win our fans back, and gives the fans something of what they wanted. They've been happy with what we have, and if you're not happy voice acting a Mandalorian role, then we will find a sound alike.
As long as they have Baby Yoda, people will keep watching. So
good thing Baby Yoda's a machine. So cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Enough. I guess enough Mandalorian, because now I'm getting angry at the series. And that's exactly what Star Wars did not want fans to do with this information. So I'm sorry to misappropriate that information, but it's important for people to talk about it and understand and know. So hope all of those facts are right. Please let us know if it's not all right, not based on what you think you know, and you're you know, if it's a fact, let us know if there's actual factual thing where I was off on. I was gonna say that just in case.
I don't think we're talking in facts anyway, really.
Yeah, a lot of it's I'm not saying all of this is, like I've said, a lot of this I've read. It's been a lot of articles, and it's been a lot of hearsay, and it's a lot of opinions based on hearsay. So, yeah, facts you want to contribute to one of our hearsays, that's great. You can comment. But kind of moving on from The Mandalorian. There's not much else other than the fact that two things. I've only seen episode 9 once, and that was in theaters, and I have it on 4K. I don't know if I've opened it, or if I've... actually, no, I don't think we have it in 4K. I think I told Jess, I'm like, you know what, no, don't grab that guy yet. We're going to watch it on Disney Plus, because it's going to be released on there. So... yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't had the most desire to.
Yeah, as far as episode 9 goes...
Are you playing World of Warcraft, George?
No. I'm walking around.
You're playing World of Warcraft.
I'm not. No, as far as, I mean, you just made my guy look like a Jedi, and we're talking about Star Wars, and I'm trying to, like, not want to just sit here and play on him while I'm looking at him with the lightsaber in his hands. But anyway, as far as episode 9, I'm in the very small portion of people who really didn't hate the movie that much. Like, I mean, there were things I didn't like about it. I think they did the best job they could do with what they were given from the previous episode. I think they tried to cram a lot of information into a small period of time. I think there was a lot of things they could have cut out that they didn't really need, but had to carry the story through, so they had to, like, do it just to carry the story through, so it was fluid. That just they shouldn't have had to need, so but they shouldn't have had to put it in there, but they had to because of how bad how previously it was set up.
It was so
to like
bad.
Fix everything. So like in a sense, like I've
so bad.
I feel like personally I've cut episode 9 a lot of slack myself, because like I feel like with what they were given, it wasn't that bad of a movie, and there was a lot of good takes out of it. I think there was a lot of good scenes in it. I think
there's some missing scenes. There's supposed to be a new director's cut of that, and there's like an Oracle scene that Vader went to as well. Like there's been so many scenes that have been cut that apparently they did film it. It should be available in a different cut. So I'm excited to see that.
They I don't know. I feel like there was a lot that I mean, there was a lot that they had to throw in there to make everything work correctly that they shouldn't have had to, but they had to. I think the biggest flaw to the Star Wars series was more 8 than 9.
Yeah, it was.
And I just feel like 9 had to... I don't know. I've watched it a few times myself. I don't mind the movie that much. There was a lot of good scenes in it that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed seeing Kylo, like the story of Kylo, and I think they did a really good job with it throughout the series. I think Kylo Ren was a great character, where he wasn't like he wanted to be evil, but he wasn't evil deep down, and he just couldn't be Vader because he just didn't have it, but wanted to be so badly, and like you just see this struggle with him trying to be something he's not, and then at the end realizing that he just can't, like, he hates who he is and he'd rather just be who he's supposed to be. And I don't know, I enjoyed that part of the movie, and like the story of Kylo Ren kept me very interested in the whole series of movies. I think they did a great job with him. He was definitely like probably one of the only good, there were some other good characters they made, but like I really enjoyed him specifically, especially in the end, turning good. I think it was kind of stupid that they had to send him go help her, but like whatever. I liked him fighting the Knights of Ren. I thought that was awesome that he like turned on his own guys at the end there.
I wish they expanded on it. I didn't do enough with the Knights of Ren, but I still
they
agree.
didn't. They should have done more with them. I 100% agree with you, but watching him take him on was pretty awesome. I've really enjoyed, at least with these last movies, and I'm sure you would agree too, is like I've enjoyed a lot of like how much they can do now with technology.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I knew you were gonna say cinematography. Yep.
Yeah, the cinematography in all these Star Wars movies, like, it's the best takeaway from all of them. Like seeing some of the things you can like imagine in Star Wars but never got to see on screen because like they just didn't have the technology at the time to do it, was just so like, it's what I enjoyed most about these newer versions of the movies, like seeing people force push lightsabers together and like flipping up and over each other, and like force throwing lightsabers to each other and getting kills, like
kills.
Oh, dude, it was awesome. Like some of the scenes, even in episode 8, there was that crazy scene where they kill Snoke and they fight all those red guys, and they take all those guys out. And there's like all these scenes where like they're just throwing the one lightsaber back and forth to each other and just like taking the guys out with it. It was a freaking awesome scene.
Yeah,
and,
that's all.
Like you would never
episode 8 had going for
seen anything like that in Star Wars before. And like you could imagine it, like that's how you imagine the fight being.
More or less.
But like you can't see it in your head the way that they show it, and it's awesome to watch that.
I feel like
as much as like the stories kind of sucked for those movies, like I feel like a lot of the cinematography, at least for me personally, was just so epic in some of them that I didn't like. I didn't come away from a lot of them being like, this sucked. I came away from a lot of them like, this could have been better, but I really enjoyed it because I just enjoyed the cinematography in them so much. Personally, that's just how I feel. So
no, I understand. I totally understand.
And I feel like episode 8 was the same way. Like there was just some really good scenes that I'm glad that I got to see.
Yeah, I agree. There were a couple good scenes. It's hard because when you start talking about lightsaber battles and being epic and nothing we've seen, it's hard because I keep thinking of episode 3 as being my favorite like lightsaber fighting. That's where you get to see Palpatine fight with lightsabers, Mace Windu. You get to see everyone fight Yoda. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Anakin and Kenobi fight each other on that huge freaking they did a whole little group fight, and yeah, it's true. There was not a huge big group fight like that in any of the scenes, but there's been no better one-on-one lightsaber duel that will ever trump episode 3 ever. Goodness, no one-on-one duel. I mean, goodness.
I mean, probably not, but again, it could have been really cool had it have been filmed now. Like, could you imagine how cool that could have been?
Yeah, it would be pretty epic.
Like, and I think the best lightsaber fight after some of the stuff we've seen in the new ones, like up until that point, I think the best one of all time is Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon fighting Darth Maul. I think that's the best lightsaber fight scene in all of Star Wars. I think it always will be. Just Darth Maul was such a cool character. I mean, you've never seen a double-bladed lightsaber in the movie series up until that point. He just comes out like no, like unfazed, like, oh, there's just 2 Jedi in front of me, no big deal, I'm fine. Like, and just
he was
takes
excited,
them both on,
yeah.
and you're like sitting there being like, these guys are super strong. Like this guy's got to be insane. He's just taking on 2 of them like it's nothing. And like he was, and he's just, you know, and like he doesn't say anything, so you don't like get this feeling of like he's kind of like feels more like an actions speak louder than words kind of character, where like he doesn't do anything really bad, so like you don't like hate him and want him to die.
I hate him for that.
What'd you say?
I said he killed Qui-Gon. I hate him for that. Or are you talking about up until that point?
Qui-Gon killed himself, to be honest with you, but Qui-Gon made a bad move. It was Qui-Gon's own fault he died. But
harsh.
There were so many other things he could have done other than just like stayed right there and got killed. But anyway, again,
you don't want to anger Liam Neeson, man.
Had it had been filmed now, it would have been a lot different. But
you don't know, your room's dark. You could have Ra's al Ghul pop out of the shadows right there and just freaking take you.
But anyway, I don't know. I just feel like he was just Darth Maul was a really cool character, and getting to see him as well. Again, cinematography, things like that. That's the stuff I love most about movies, especially Star Wars, that I look forward to the most. Same thing with all the Marvel movies. That's like my favorite part of them, is like getting to see the suits and getting to see the just what they can put on the screen to just blow your mind. Like, that's more stuff that I care about.
That's why I like Aquaman so much too, by the way, not to bring it up.
Than the actual... Like, the story's great, but, like, I was expecting the new Star Wars movies to be, like, trying to be too much like the first 3 and trying to, like, bring back all these fans and, like, it was, like, almost a try-too-hard series the whole time. It was like somebody wasn't happy about this, so they changed that. Somebody wasn't happy about this, so they changed that. Somebody wasn't happy about this, so they changed that. And they just changed so much stuff, it just ruined them.
Yeah, that's exactly what the point was with that people were worried about with the Mandalorian, is because it was like the Lucas art. It was like the Disney branch of LucasArts, like the Disney branch of LucasArts that intervened. It was like, no, remove this, don't do this. No, that's too controversial of a topic. We don't want that. We don't want this. We don't want that. Change this. We can't have this storyline existent anymore. And apparently, like, it was episode 8 was supposed to have a lot of, I think, from what I would calculate or look at or whatever, would it be like a lot of Kylo Knights of Ren, a lot of the dark side stuff, a lot of different Rey growing to figure out what she wants to do more, and all of that, and all of the controversy. And there would have been so much more had Abrams had his way and the reins for that. But but they took Abrams out, put a different director in there, and they just said, "Yep, we'll do whatever changes you guys want," and it ruined the movie. But beside the point, thank you so much for bringing up Darth Maul, because we can wrap this podcast up with our very last topic that's going to only take us like a minute or two. Just the new series and what we'd like to see. Bringing up, we're supposed to get a Darth Maul series on just right on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. I heard that we're supposed to get a Darth Maul series and a Obi-Wan Kenobi series as well. So that'd be so cool. That's everything I'd want,
again,
honestly.
Darth Maul is probably the coolest character in all of Star Wars, so I hope we get to see him again. I enjoy seeing the epicness they can put on the screen for Star Wars. I enjoy seeing the epicness they can put on the screen for Marvel. I enjoy that stuff a lot. I enjoy seeing what you can only imagine ever seeing, like the Avengers for the first time. Like, the first Avengers movie to me is like one of the best movies ever, just for the mere fact of it's the first time we got to see like we got to see like all these heroes together that you've always wanted to see on screen, and you got to see each of them individually, and then all of a sudden you get to see them all together for the first time
together ever. It was just
like in that one scene where the Avengers assemble, and like you just you see Bruce Banner ride in on the little like moped or whatever, and he gets in there, and they all are in that group. He turns into Hulk, and they're just in that group, and Iron Man's up on the like flying in the air ready to go, and they're all just sitting there. Like, it's like one of the best scenes in like Marvel Cinematic History, man. Like that's it. Like that's the
Yeah,
scene.
it's super
That's
cool.
the scene that turned everything into what it is right there.
Yep.
Like
And that music.
that,
Dun,
the moment that they hit that scene was the moment that like you say to yourself, "Wow, this is real." Like
Yep.
they did it. They did
I remember that. I was
They
just like,
got
I
it.
remember the theaters. I was just like,
and you're
Yep,
and you're
there's
you're
him,
like, what
there's
am I
that,
about to
yep,
watch?
yep, there
What
they
am I
are.
about to watch right now? You're like, is this actually happening?
yeah, that's
And
yeah.
like,
I
I'm
remember
just
that. I'm like, I
getting
can't believe they
tingly.
did
I'm
this.
just getting tingly feeling just thinking about like it. I do every time I see that scene because it's like, yeah, I mean, now we don't need to make this a Marvel Cinematic Universe.
There'll be another podcast for that.
talk.
They're not podcast,
I
but it'll
know.
be another topic next week, I'm sure.
I know,
we'll do
but
some
I
research.
don't want to make this all about that when we're supposed to be talking about Star Wars. But
That's fine.
yeah, there hopefully will be some good series. When you said series, it made me think of that because there's a bunch of series of those on there too.
Yeah.
But no, they're gonna do some good Star Wars series. Hopefully, we get to see Obi-Wan because he'd be a good one. He's a really cool character as well. I'd like to see more Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Like maybe they could do another like Boba Fett series. That'd be dope. I don't think they will because they're already doing Mandalorian, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense to do a Boba Fett series when you're already doing a Mandalorian series.
That's a rumor I heard is that Boba Fett's supposed to be coming.
Oh, he's he's gonna be in there this season.
Season
As
2,
well
you
as
know that
that-
for sure?
Yeah, as well as that one girl, Ashoka or Akosha.
Ahsoka. Ahsoka! No, you didn't watch Clone Wars. Damn it.
Yeah.
Or
I didn't
Rebels.
watch Clone Wars. I
Or
didn't
Rebels.
watch any of the cartoon Star Wars. No.
I did.
But yeah, she's supposed to be in there as well in a
I'm
real
so
life
excited.
version. So it'll
So
be the first time
excited.
people see her in real life version. So that's gonna be an epic scene, I'm sure. The first time it happens. It's
Oh yeah,
gonna be
because she has
nuts.
double-bladed silver lightsabers. It's just gonna show up. She's gonna save the Mandalorian somehow. Or they're gonna be screwed, and then you're just gonna see freaking like all this dust and thick mist or something, and it's like screwed, and you're just gonna see these two silver lightsabers, and then just watch her just rip through a whole field of stormtroopers, and be like, "Hi, I'm Ahsoka," and it would be like, "Yes." I'm excited. I'm so excited to see her in the series because that's gonna be so cool to see a character. I mean, this will be the first time. It'll be the first time seeing a character be created in like an animated series and then be brought to like not the silver screen,
First time
but like
she's gonna be
brought to
seen
the
in
Star Wars
like
universe.
the real life version of her, what
Yeah.
she would actually have looked like.
Yeah, and to me, I know Clone Wars and Rebels are supposed to be canon with the current Lucasfilm Star Wars Disney universe right now. They're supposed to be canon. But to me, to see Ahsoka as a real life live action character in The Mandalorian and to make those acknowledgments, like that makes that animated series so much cooler and gives it so much more legitimacy because she was born from that series. She's not just an added character. She came from that series. So it's gonna be it's gonna make me want to watch Clone Wars again because you're gonna want to watch all those conflicts that she had with Anakin, and I'm so excited.
But yeah, I believe they're on.
Ahsoka spin-off series.
I'm checking on IMDb right now, but I believe that they're on the. They are cast for season 2.
Okay, Sleepy. Our podcast has been running quite a while. We're gonna have to wrap this up.
All right, sounds good to me.
Sorry, it's been it's like an hour and almost
You're
40
fine.
minutes.
Fine.
But yeah, that's the wrap up, I suppose. Sorry, I'm gonna wrap it up, but let me know what you find at the end of my little end rant here.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, me and George, we're both on Twitch. We both I stream a lot of games. George streams a lot of games too. Well, let me rephrase that. We're both streaming World of Warcraft. I'm trying to play more Fortnite. Try to play more Fortnite so I can get that more onto my Twitch account. I'm trying to do YouTube videos more. Like I have some box opening videos that I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna do them and figure out how I have the time to do them. And you know, George is here on Twitch. I told you guys at George Ballard 4. I'm on here too, Sir Cody Gentry. That's my Twitch name, Sir Cody Gentry. Or YouTube, it could also be Sir Cody Gentry on there too. I'm not sure, but either way, just type in Cody Gentry somewhere, you'll find something.
You can link it on the.
Huh?
I linked it in your chat. Your YouTube URL.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Cool. There's our YouTubes. There's our Twitches. And guys, thanks. You can find this video and hopefully both of our YouTubes. I gotta just remember it. I don't know. I'm gonna transfer such a large video over to George, but we'll figure that out. Pretty smart guys.
It won't be that bad, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just get it up for yourself first. I don't have to get it up anytime crazy. So.
Cool. And guys, this is our first late night podcast show thing. It ran a little long, but look out for the YouTube ones. They'll be nicely structured too. This whole setup is my very first one I worked out today. So next Friday, we'll be here next Friday, probably 8 p.m. sharp Pacific Standard Time. So late night podcast, 8 p.m., 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's gonna look a lot better. The cameras are gonna be bigger. I'm gonna have a little bit more ambient sound, so it's not as silent, and I'm going to have everything sorted out. This was our first podcast, first attempt at it. So there's gonna be lots of improvements just into the next one, and eventually we'll be working and getting in little intros, a little bit more structure, a little bit more of everything, having more guests. Yeah, we wanted originally my brother to be on here too, giving Sack Splatter a little bit of a shout out. He's on Twitch if you want to go check him out, but we'll have him on here hopefully soon. I don't know if this is gonna evolve into a me and George podcast, a me podcast, a group podcast. We will see. Well, please comment what you're thinking. If we talk too much on a certain subject, if we miss a subject that you want us to cover. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Both of us will peace out. I'm Cody. That's Jorge Ballard IV.
And have a good time.
Okay, peace.